Hey guys, I'm back. Yeah, this is Mark, aka Christ169. Sorry guys to be gone. I had to take care of myself. I was sick for a little while. Also, taking Benefiber, stuff like that. You gotta take your fiber and stuff though. Speak of that, take fiber anyway. Um, take a fiber tablet anyway. I take two per day, but I take one every few hours. One and a half. I think one first half, second half. Take one. Um, yeah, I'm not sponsored by. Hmm, sorry guys. Yeah. Okay. I ain't sponsored by Benefiber, but the chewables are good. It's good for supplement for your good gut health, but also helping with weight management. Fiber. You also have um, men's all-in-one gold, what we call it. So I'm taking two as well. Yeah, I had a nasty. Yeah, no, I had a nasty stomach bug that was almost 2 weeks long. It was nasty. I missed a lot of work, and it bugged me a lot because I was sitting at home just thinking about my mother and also just, when you're not doing nothing, you're sitting home, you're staring at a wall all day long because you're sick, you worry about a lot of things. So, yeah. So, you know, I take your fiber, obviously. Helped you out a lot, with your gut health. And I also been going to the gym even more. I've been watching what I eat now, buying things, taking it home and eating it. Instead of eating out, I've been cutting that out. So, feel pretty good today. I mean, I feel pretty good so far with this. But anyway, though, today's topic, weekend news. And I know you guys worry about my health, so I won't think you're here for that only. But yeah, today's topic is going to be about, drum roll please, the video is about weekend news, Nintendo Switch 2, and AMD Nintendo Switch 2 news, and AMD Radeon RX 960 XT and non XT. We're going to go over Nintendo Switch real quick here. Here, biggest launch, we're actually on the verge. Biggest launch titles I have Nintendo Switch 2, Zelda, and a Zelda game. I can't remember what it's called. It's not really showing up. Can't really see it for some reason. Mm. Anyway, though, it's a new Zelda game and also Mario Kart World. It's also Civilization 7 and other games you're looking at too as well. Yeah, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition, $80. Hitman World Hogwarts Legacy, about 23 gigabytes. Hard to believe they give you the gigabyte information too as well on this thing. But a lot of the games do have a lot of good stuff on them. Cyberpunk is probably it's 54 gigabytes. That's 59 gig, almost 60 gigabytes for that game. Of course, it's $70 too, as well too. Street Fighter 1 year and two, 6 years 1 and 2, $60, 48 gigabytes. It gives you the digital version if you install it digitally. Like most of these games, guys, are gonna be key cards anyway. If you don't know what a key card is, it's pretty much just like you're taking a game home and you're installing it. You remember the PS3 days? That's how it was. PS3 days. PS3, you go home, you have to install the game first. Xbox, you have to play it. Well, now both consoles require you to install. Just a way to control you more, to hook you in the system more. But Nintendo Switch 2 is selling quite well, actually. I mean, it's selling a lot better. A lot of people thought it was. And the games to have key cards, the cartridges entitled with digital downloads be resold without issues. Um, well, it says entitled you to digital download and that can be resold without issues. I don't know how it's going to work out though and stuff. But when I talk about the Nintendo Switch 2, though, I want to talk about the fact that Nintendo Switch games, Nintendo Switch itself is going to drop in price. The Switch 1 is going to drop in price. Okay. If you haven't got a Switch One, I don't know why you haven't got one yet. By now. But if you haven't got one right now, if you haven't bought, I ain't buy one now. You could. I mean, you could. I ain't gonna stop you. And I go, oh my God, don't do that. But you're a fool. No, if you don't care about the latest, if you got a gaming rig and you play all your games on your better games like Cyberpunk and games like that on your rig, you want to play Mario and Zelda, you can go nuts with Nintendo Switch One. Yes, I'm very underpowered compared to what the other consoles are, but like I said, if you're a PC gamer and you don't care about the power of Switch Two, the Switch One's going to be, a real cheap one to get your hands on to get into Nintendo ecosystem. So I think that's good to keep Switch One going. They got so many of them too out there too. Wow, they have over 100 million of these Switch Ones out there. Think about it. Thrift stores and bargain bin places are going to be filled with used Switches. Japan probably has tons of them just unsold, and they'll probably mark them down like Sega did, mark it down to a cheaper price and sell it as a alternative. Well, if you don't want to buy Switch Two, here's Switch One. It plays all the Switch One games, not Switch Two games, but it plays all the games we had before. And here you go, ready to go. And you can get online and play online. You probably can't play with people on Switch Two. Maybe you could. I don't know. Maybe Mario Kart. Maybe certain games you can. But game like Cyberpunk, now you can't play it on Switch. It ain't gonna run Switch One. Um, Resident Evil 7 had to be streamed to your system. So maybe Resident Evil 7 will be able to actually run on Switch too. I've been reading about it. Cyberpunk is running quite well on it on dock mode. Handheld mode kind of iffy. I've been reading about it. But then again, Cyberpunk is a game that you want to be immersive. You want to be in your dock, 4K TV or 4K monitor, headphones on, and just immersive in that world. You're not playing Mario. You're not jumping on Goombas. You're actually, doing stuff, and it's a very immersive game. So I can see people wanting to be at home, hooking in the dock, and just playing it on their monitors. Um, Now the prices do suck, but they're selling. All my friends bought one because what they do. One lady told my friend like, "Oh yeah, you buying it for your son? Be awesome." He's like, "Yeah, my son. Yeah, he has no kids." So it's like, yeah, he's buying for his son, all right? Yeah, he's buying for the inner child. Call him. Will I go over his house and play it? And he invited me over a couple times to do it, but I've been busy doing stuff because I've been sick for the last 2 weeks, so I had to take care of this, that, and the other. So I haven't had time to really go out and do anything. Uh, I got no. I also got to recoup money from missing work for like for like 4 days. So it's a lot of money. So I couldn't go out and do a lot of stuff. I went out today and got groceries for my work this week and get gas in my car. 'Cause I've been sitting home, guys, for a good God, a long time. Except going to urgent care to get my testing done. Of course, no issues at all. The bug I had is now gone out of me, so that's even better. So the bug I did have is adios. So that's sweet. So, but yeah, that was nasty bug. But going back to the Switch too, though. So, would I play if I see a demo? Of course I will. Will I play at friends' houses? Of course I will. Will I buy it right now? Not really. I have Switch One behind me that I got for Christmas. My family bought it for me. So it's a little more sentimental value than just something I'm going to throw in there. Well, I appreciate it, Many. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for stopping by and watching the video. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Watching my video live stream. But do I feel that the Switch 2 going to take over Switch 1? People are saying, "Oh my God, Switch 2 going to be number one. Going to take over PlayStation 2 numbers." Only time will tell. If they can slowly integrate people into the $80 price point, like Microsoft is doing, and like Switch. But then again, Microsoft has Game Pass Ultimate. Switch doesn't have Game Pass Ultimate. So with them, Nintendo's gonna have to do a lot of wheel and dealing. They're gonna have to do a lot of wheels and deals. They're gonna put new games on their Nintendo Switch Online. They're gonna have to do a lot of things that Microsoft does to sweeten the pot, but not do the Xbox reveal, Nintendo Switch. They almost did that with Switch 2. They were almost doing a 2013 Xbox with Switch 2. Look at all the Switch 2, $500. F you, give us more money. I told friends of mine the Switch 2 is not going to be cheap. I said this guys years ago. The Switch 2 is going to be a powerhouse machine. It's going to be a powerhouse price. I'm not stupid. They ain't stupid. The Wii, the Wii only sold for grandmas and grandparents to play bowling. The Wii U didn't sell; it tanked. The Switch was the only one that actually sold really well because they had all these games ready to go, and all they did was modify them to work on the Switch. So Nintendo's not stupid. They went to the well a lot to get these games. They already had ready to go, and oh, hey, we beat them up. Looks better on the Switch too, on Switch One. Why don't you go buy it right now? People bought it. Like Adam Kurek, who is a YouTuber that I admire a lot. I kind of started my career because of him, and also many other people too as well. YouTubers, check them out by the way. They're down below. I'm subscribed to them, so if you see them down below my bottom of my page, check their videos. Adam Kurek is a good one. He did a very funny but very serious Wii, Wii year one of a Switch, but but beating the shit out of the Wii U. The Wii, saying how Nintendo, just flipped us off pretty much and told us to go to hell, and went with the kitty crazy stuff, with the kitty crap, and run around, Hello Kitty cruisers and crap like that, and not giving a shit about the real gamers that brought them to the dance, that bought all their stuff. And that being said, and what happened? And Switch became, and the Wii U became the dumpster fire of Nintendo for the longest time, where they couldn't even sell. No, they couldn't give Wii U games away, Wii games away. Yes, the Wii was successful; it sold 100 million units, but a lot of them were actually in thrift stores and garbage dumps because people just didn't want them anymore. And the Wii U, people thought was just an add-on tablet for the Wii. It was a little more powerful than the Wii U, barely, but it wasn't as, oh my god, this is awesome. Let's go buy this, take us home and play Mario, you know, with a gamepad now. And that was what the Wii U was. Wii U was a lot more than it was, but it was many people thought it was just an add-on gamepad. And that was a big mistake on Nintendo to think they can go Wii U and everybody will run and buy it. But Adam talked about how they sacrificed Wii U for the Switch, and they did. And now they're coming out with the premium price tag, and people are, oh my god, I'm so offended now. You're offended that Nintendo will charge you $80 for a game you paid $60 for 4 years ago. That'd be like being offended that porn stars take one up the rear end. It's unheard of. These companies, guys, are making money. They're not running a video I made earlier. Companies are not running charity drives. Gaming is not a poor man's hobby. You can't be poor and be a gamer. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. So there's things you have to do. So Nintendo said, "Hey, we're charging, $80 per game." I told you guys about 4 or 5 years ago when the first Switch came out, original Switch came out. Yes, no, Nintendo's nice to us now because they got their ass handed to them on the Wii U. The Wii didn't have a lot of third-party support. No, no, Nintendo went kitty centric and totally told us gamers to go to hell, pretty much. And all of a sudden now they want us back in our graces. Switch 2 gave us all these great games with great memories. The Switch 1, I mean, the first Switch, the original. Switch 2 now is like the punch in the face, or like the slap across the face. Like, hey, wake up. We're Nintendo. We make products, premium products. You give us money, you have fun. If not, you get lost. That's pretty much how Nintendo is right now. They're not greedy. They're not being bullies. Nintendo's always been this way. Nintendo has always been the company that always tried to squeeze out every nickel and every dollar when they can. Nintendo guy has saved console gaming in 1985. So everybody should be thanking the Lord above that Nintendo exists. But also understand that Nintendo is not your friend. They are a company. I understand it even back when I was a kid. Parents sat down and told me why I can't get a Super NES right away. Well, yeah, true, George. I mean, that's argument too. But you gotta understand though, you're comparing two different entities to each other. No, it's like comparing Atari 2600 to a PlayStation 5. Truly vast different architects of technology. Granted, one's in the 70s and has wood finish it tells, and one's in the 21st century. Of course, the Switch is going to be two is going to be underpowered to the Steam Deck. Steam Deck been out for a little while longer and had a little longer fan base, but the Steam Deck is actually a hybrid PC handheld, where the Switch 2 is a gaming console handheld. Big difference. So, yeah, I see some in there where I see where you're going with that road there, but and I'm getting off this exit here because I understand that the Switch and Steam are two totally different opposite sides of the spectrum. If Sony came out with their version of a PlayStation um, PSP system that docked and did all the stuff that the Switch did, yeah, it might be the same. But having the Steam Deck, oh, it's powerful. Okay, that's cool, but it's two different entities. Like I said, you're comparing, like I said, no, you're pairing a Atari 2600 to a PS5 or a Maserati to a Geo Metro. It just doesn't work because they're two different systems. One has Steam OS, that's probably good, I guess, and one has Nintendo Switch on Nintendo's operating system. Once again, two different systems. But I see where you're going though. The handheld is probably the biggest market that Nintendo gets back into because they haven't been in there for like almost like 10 years. Because the Switch has been the handheld of choice. Granted, they had the the DS and the XL and all that, but they kind of slowly fade those away. See you'll hear about them anymore. So the Steam Deck will probably get a revise eventually and be even more powerful than it is right now. It has to be, especially with especially with the Johnny Come Latelys. With the other, MSI and the other ones coming out, Gigabyte trying to make their own handheld, rumored obviously. With Johnny Come Lately coming out the woodwork, trying to create their own version of a Steam Deck. It's like, okay, so Steam has to start, amping up a little more and getting a little more power on the hood. But I see where you're going, George. I see what you're trying to make similarity to them. Like I said, it's like, comparing Atari to a 2600 to a PS5. It just, to me, it didn't, it's just similarities are not there. Because one is, yes, they both can be docked, but the Steam Deck works better not docked, technically, for to have it. But they use it on a small monitor, where the Switch they use it on TV. Once again, it's whoever wants to compare that's fine. Now you can use both of my TVs, not a problem. But I look at this as the Steam Deck being more of a hybrid PC we have, and to your monitor and stuff like that. Or the Switch to your at your TV in your living room or bedroom area. That's where I look at them both. But they're not a bad analogy, trust me. It's been talked about for months before Switch 2 came out. How is it going to react to the Steam Deck? And I don't think Steam Deck has to worry about having Nintendo having Steam on their OS. I don't think it's going to happen. But the Xbox, though, they have Steam on supposedly on their coming. Um, you can play Steam games on your Xbox or library on there anyway. And that right there is something I probably worry about if you're a diehard Valve person. And Microsoft trying to grab Steam and buy them out both hands. I don't think Steam's gonna sell though, because it's kind of stupid to sell to Microsoft. And what are they gonna do with the Steam games? Just throw them on Ultimate. So one thing, guys, I know I kind of go on rabbit trails a little bit, but anyway though, um, Nintendo Switch, the Switch 2 selling pretty well. It's not as sought after right now. A couple stores like Target, a couple only had like 12 or 15 of them come to their stores. Shit hit to their stores. Best Buy had the most of them. Walmart had a lot of them. But a lot of stores didn't have a lot of them. It's probably just Nintendo trying to beef up the ooh and ah. That's how it happens with every system when graphics card comes out. They do that to make it, oh my god, we have to go run by the Steam Deck or the graphics card or Switch 2 because if not, it's going to sell out and Johnny can have one before I get one. And it's just if that keep up with the Johnny crap I don't play with. Now, I'll get a Switch 2 when I get a Switch 2. If I get one, great. If I don't, whatever. Ain't the end of the world to me. Because I'm a PC gamer, so I don't really care. I play Switch when I play hardly ever anyway. But that's just because, me. Because I play most of the games I want to play. I play and beat them, so I'm probably don't switch. But the Switch 2, it looks pretty good, promising. Still not going to be sold on the fact that you have to pay $80 for a game that's you driving around with Mario, but whatever. We pay $80 for games to people playing $70 games to sit in a corner and Call of Duty and snipe people half across the map. So people will spend their money, waste their money on anything that's your business. Waste your money on it. But me, I want value for my wasting my money, especially when stuff costs money like that. So I'm still not sold on an $80 game. I think 60 is the highest I would go. If it ain't $60 or lower, I ain't gonna buy it. That's why I love Steam sales. Why I love PC gaming. But now, last bit of news here is the AMD Radeon 9060 XT and non-XT price around $500 for 9060. I'm actually on Engadget, Gadget, as the website here. It says AMD 9060 16 gigabyte review, fully a powerful $350 GPU. It's reminded that bygone era of PC gaming is also a great 1080p to 1440p graphics card. So the 9060 is not going to be the 4K powerhouse that everybody thought it was going to be. You know what, though? When I saw, let me make a side note here. When I saw the 4090 struggle and Cyberpunk on Digital Foundry with everything on, and it's right before the extreme, whatever you call it, came in. Well, no, I think it was right with the last update they had, where they had that extreme preset where you can put everything on the maximum settings. It's literally having your system will fly in the air because it's literally get lifted off because so much heat from the GPU. And I saw Digital Foundry, it was like almost like 20 frames per second, 30 frames per second. I'm like, you know what? Motion pictures are 23 frames. Watching a slideshow. Of course, they know you turn on DLSS 4 or DLSS whatever it's for, and it, of course, went to like 60. Like, that's a relief. But natively, without using DLSS, damn, son, 4090. Now, a friend of mine at 5090 spent $2,000 more for it. Says he plays every game on highest settings, maxed out, and runs like a dream. So you know what? $2,000, man. That's a lot of stuff I can buy 2 grand. That's not 5090. But seeing how AMD is trying to wiggle their way into the market with something that's compatible, because right now, you have to have a GPU that does ray tracing. I got a 3070, still a good card, but Stalker 2 runs like ass on it. Okay, I'm sorry. I can play it in low, so I have a 1440p monitor. So yeah, I know I got 3070 1440p monitor. Go figure. Um, but but I play games on it very well with the custom settings or medium settings. If I gotta play Stalker 2 in low settings, what's the point buying the game? I bought it, played it. I had a whole 25 frames. I put on low. I had 40 frames. I'm like, you know what? This game is not bad. It's a good looking game, but you need 12 gigabytes just to run it. Gamers Nexus and even Jay's 2 cents. Once again, I'm subscribed both of them down below, so go down there and subscribe to them if you haven't already. If you're a PC gamer, you subscribe to them. But 12 gigabytes will run the game well. 16 with the 9060 runs better than the 5060 16 gigabyte. Granted, DDR7, DDR6, whatever, Apple to Armor. I say tomato, you say tomato. Whatever you say. And I have an AM4 situation here. Okay, well, what's the thoughts on the Windows? Well, a side note with Windows, I had Windows 11 Pro. I had 10 Pro and I switched over free. So me personally, I don't mind the updates. I don't see them as much as I used to with Windows 10. I have friends who have Linux. My father in his place has Linux. He plays his racing games on Linux. Some of them. No, a lot of them won't run. He has to go to his beefier PC that's beefier than mine that he got built for his retirement. His sister and my brother-in-law built him a gaming rig, a brand new one, with a 4070 Ti Super 16 gigabyte. Just play racing games on it, but he loves it. But he also plays his other one that I know I gave him 2060 when I got 3070. I gave him my old 2060, and he's playing racing games on that thing. We have to switch over and play it onto the Windows because for some reason some current racing games don't work well on Linux. Once again, no, the Horizon 5 game like that, it probably works good on Linux, but he can't get it to run well on Linux. And my sister hadn't had time to come over yet to look at it because she's an IT person, so she didn't have time to come over to his house and look at it. So, but I think Linux is good. I think Linux is. I mean, Linux, Steam is Linux. Steam's OS Linux anyway. Now everybody knows that Steam's OS is Linux. It's what it is. Now, I worked in a store at Lowe's. I've been at Lowe's a long time. The store computers used to be all Linux operating system. Now you couldn't hack a Linux system. Probably can now, but back for 30 years ago, I've been at Lowe's 20 years. For the longest time, you could not hack a Linux system. A lot of companies are so using Linux system because it's very hard to hack into the system. But then again, though, it's hard to update. What I've heard. Now Linux gaming, I've heard. I know um, Kunahard. Once again, I'll subscribe to him down below. If I said his name right, he's a Linux gamer. He plays games on PC Linux. He plays a lot of games. So some games he has to work around. I get to work, but I don't think Linux is too terrible. But I think that if you look at the Linux system versus Windows, like I said, you're trying to compare two different operating systems and make them similar, and really they're not. 'Cause Windows is using from phones to tablets to TVs to even certain cars has Windows stuff on them, has Windows operating system. So it's really hard to compare those two. But do I think Windows needs to slow down a little bit? Yes, I think Windows needs to slow down. I think Microsoft needs to stop pushing out the Windows every year. Now Windows 7 and XP goes long like had like almost I think 13, 14 years. Windows 7, couple years. 8 just wasn't great. 8.1 was fine. Windows 10 was the one that really gave them footing to get the PC market going. But with Linux, it's very simple operating system, but can be hard if you're not used to that. Because you really got to be a master at understanding coding. And my brother-in-law told me that Linux is more of a thinking man's OS, where Windows is more like a click here, go here, solve the problem. With Linux, you got to really be knowledgeable on what you're doing. And I hope they answered your question because I'm not really, fond of Linux outside of using it at work. But that was only because I was doing simple things. But guys, this is my video. I'm gonna see you guys later. Thank you for watching my video. I'll see you guys next week, and also during the week when I make videos during the week. Peace out, everybody. Be safe. Like, subscribe, notification, ring that bell. I'll see you guys later. Peace.